On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is time to check in with the official astronomer for the Saturday morning extravaganza and James Golden Show, Gary Swangin. Gary, welcome, Mr. Astronomer. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine, James, and thank you very much for having me on. I've been so excited to convey some of the information that I dug up yesterday.
Well, you have to. Okay, here's the deal. I saw headlines, Gary, and I saw a headline about with the latest UFO dump about something with some plasma-based imagery or something. And then I saw something else where something wrapped space around the craft or whatever it is, and I'm like, I need to come back and look at this, but I never had time to go back and look at it. What is in the latest UFO files that stands out for you?
Well, comparing this particular dump to the previous ones, I would say that the first two were like appetizers, but this one is like getting a piece of the main course meal. And it can be broken down to three things that are different from the previous releases. In particular, you get a lot of eyewitness accounts from law enforcement and government agents out there in the field, and that's really extraordinary because these are credible eyewitness accounts. The second thing, which is kind of extraordinary, is that what they call the hatching orb phenomena. These, in the previous observations that we've made of these objects, they were like little dots against the background. But here we're getting accounts of these large objects. We also have an iPhone video of one of these orbs, and the description is as follows. There's a large red orb, or orange orb, and there are little tiny orbs. It's all coming out of the large red orb, which is sort of like a mother hen hatching her chicks. So that's really very extraordinary. And the other thing, which I found really puzzling, maybe a little bit disturbing, was I was reading the transcripts from the astronauts and from the Apollo astronauts, and believe me, it was kind of a chilling thing reading that they saw these objects on the surface of the moon, rather in the sky, and in a way they were kind of stunned by it. So it was quite extraordinary, this last bit of releases that came out of yesterday.
All right, let's walk through those three things. Mm-hmm. What in the eyewitness account stood out to you as what have people seen? Credible eyewitnesses.
Well, they were credible because first they could track the objects that they observed, and two, the way they described the appearance of these orbs was really kind of breathtaking in a way, because it was different from, the problem is, James, that when people look at these objects in the sky, they're so excited about it. They look at it and they go, well, but they don't convey that much information. But these particular eyewitness accounts were detailed, and in fact, they had a map of showing where these agents were. They did not identify the place where they were exactly. In other words, the base where they were located, because that was under very secretive. But their accounts were extremely descriptive and credible. If you read them carefully, very credible observations.
So these credible eyewitnesses saw what is being described as orbs.
Correct.
And the orbs were traveling in the sky in ways that people could not identify them as being anything that would identify as commercial or human military activity. Is that correct?
That is correct. Exactly. And like I said, when you read the description of what they said in the transcripts, you shake your head and say, this is good stuff, The problem is that when people report UFO sightings, they don't give us enough information. For example, back in the 1970s, I was in contact with Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who's set up what they call the Center for UFO Studies. And he broke these observations down into three categories: close encounters of the first kind, close encounters of the second time, and close encounter of the third kind, from which Steven Spielberg created a movie about it. And when you have these three categories, in the descriptions from these particular agents, they definitely include close encounter of the first kind and close encounter of the second kind. In short, close encounter of the first kind means that you have a visual sighting of what you're looking at. Close encounter of the second kind is one where you have physical evidence, such as scorched trees, radio interference, and all kinds of physical things associated with the observation. The point I'm making is that when we said that the agents had very, very good observational information, it falls into the category of close encounter of the first kind and close encounter of the second kind.
Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's soccer night, and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases.
A great day out for the entire family. Kids run the bases after every Sunday home game. Want the best seats all season? Get more Ferry Hawks for only $63. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Wow. All right, let's talk about the hatching orb phenomenon. Now, this orb, we're talking about something that is very large. It has to be if other things are coming out of it.
Correct, absolutely. They are large. And in fact, I would advise one to take a look at the last picture, not the UFO, but the iPhone. It's about iPhone video, which is about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. You'll see a large orb. They call that orb the orb over the pond. It's 4 minutes and, as I said, 25 seconds. And you can see that this thing is stationary. Occasionally it goes back and forth a little bit, but it's stationary. It's large in size. So in the previous releases of these photographs and videos, we didn't have anything as detailed as the one we see now in the video. Okay,
I saw a picture of it. I did not see the video. I saw a still of the video, so I'm going to have to go back and look at it. Okay, now, then the Apollo astronauts, their transcripts. What is it that they are seeing, Gary? What is it that they saw? What are they saying they saw?
Well, they were describing, for example, the objects that appeared from the surface of the moon. In earlier transcripts, they say something about the fireflies, as we mentioned before, about the little fireflies, the little pinpoints of light. All of those things have been described, but, they have not resolved them. They just they recorded the information that the astronauts had conveyed, and that was it. No one really honestly, no one really pursued this any further than what we see in the documents that were submitted.
Some of these astronauts must still be alive.
Yes.
Why is anybody going back and re-interviewing them now and getting a more detailed debriefing on what it was that they saw?
That's an interesting question, because the very last thorough interview was by Walter Cronkite many years ago. He interviewed one of the astronauts, I think it was Gordon Cooper, because Cooper believed that there's possibly alien life. And other than that, I'm not really privy to know everything about what's going on in terms of the interviews. But the point is that this has not been played up as much as we would like it to be.
Any way to get in touch with any of these astronauts, Gary? You see where I'm going with this.
Well, we have one of which, Buzz Aldrin, who's in my state right now. He's only, I don't know, about 20, 30 miles away from me. That's the only person I know that's rather close to this particular locale.
Okay, well, you see where I'm going with this. I think we need to talk with some of these astronauts, Gary.
Yeah, now that it's out, we can do that. I mean, before, I can tell you, but really, James, they would interview these astronauts, and they would, anytime they would mention anything that was unfamiliar, it was kind of classified and wasn't released to the public.
Hey, Gary, let's see whether we can get one on the show and you interview him.
Yeah, that would be nice. It really would be nice.
I'm serious. Let's do it. All right, I got to ask you one thing. I was talking with a friend of mine this week, and he just mentioned to me, and I was quite surprised because his doctorate is in music, and we were talking about some other things, and then he started veering into astronomy. I'm like, oh man, you're right there with me. And one of the things, his observation to me, I'm going to give it to you really simplified because I can't go through the whole thing. He said to me, look, he said, and we've talked about this. He said, if you look at the structure of what we know about the cosmos, we are looking at trillions of planets. We're looking at billions of planets right here in our own galaxy. Trillions. I said, you're talking things I totally agree with and we talk about.
Right.
And he said, and then human beings wonder. He said, you have all this stuff going on with UFO stuff, and human beings wonder why we don't, or if we have had communication with higher life forms. He said, think about this for a minute, is what he told me. Higher life forms that have the ability to travel, if they do, these great vast differences, and have figured out how to do it, time and space, in ways that we don't understand. If they're that advanced and they can do this, what do they see when they come to this planet? They see people that are killing each other over total stupidity, or what color someone is, or what color someone isn't. They see conflict over the most stupid things. They see the condition of the world, how we use technology to war on each other and kill each other. They see people that are not, where there is so much anger, hatred, and why would they want to communicate with us, especially if they're advanced? They may want to drop a little technology on us to try to help us, but why would they want to communicate with us? I said, well, that's a damned interesting premise. I'm going to ask Gary Swangin about it, so I'm asking you.
Well, my answer would be curiosity. Or you could look at it another way, James. You could think of that if the universe is about 13.7 billion years, and we've only been around for a relatively short time since the beginning of the universe, there could be other civilizations that are a lot more advanced. I mean, let's say 2 or 3 million years ahead of us. And so, therefore, if they're so advanced, coming from another planet or another solar system, so to speak, then they would probably regard us as being very primitive. They may not even want to communicate with us, or they may want to interact with us out of curiosity. But the thing is that, as I mentioned to you in previous conversations that we had, that space is so enormous, and if they have been able to beat the physics, in other words, what I'm saying to you is that if they could travel, nearly the speed of light, or actually finding another way, like a wormhole in space, to cut off the time lag, then they would be extremely advanced. And being that advanced, they probably would just kind of regard us as very primitive creatures. It's interesting because there are a lot of philosophical treatments or treaties, or rather information regarding what would happen if we actually have an encounter with an alien species.
Well, that's what he said too. He said, why would they want to communicate? Our first instinct would be to pull out guns and kill them all, and then do autopsies. Why in the world would they want? Why would they want to? Yeah.
Well, there could be. We can look at it the other way. Perhaps around our. This is kind of a joke. Perhaps around our solar system there are "do not enter" signs warning the aliens not to come to the planet. Quarantine. So that could happen too,
I love it.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.